I am Rico Bolful, and this is Uncut News. Brazil's economic minister, as well as the senator of the border state of Roraima, have expressed their full support behind the construction of a road from Manaus to Georgetown. The road from the border onward is actually paved, so really, they just mean that they are waiting on us to build our portion of the road. Brazil's government said they will work with all international financial organizations to see the project to fruition. According to the economic minister, his government sees the road construction as another step closer to transcontinental infrastructure. Through this project, there will also be construction of a port and energy collaborations. The Ministry of Public Works has awarded a $168 million contract to M&P Construction for the repair of 100 meters of compromised sea defense at Dancing, Maikoni, Region 5. If you remember, last October, huge waves destroyed at least 500 meters of sea defenses, causing flooding throughout thousands of acres of farmland, all of which was flooded with salt water. The government paid BK International close to $1.5 billion to repair the breach. To this day, it still hasn't finished the project, which is why the government is now changing contractors. On the topic of do-nothing contractors that waste our money, a protest happened yesterday that really didn't get the attention it deserves. Yesterday, over 60 young men from Lang Avenue, Sideline Dam, All Boys Town, Alexander Village, and Riverview protested at Sideline Dam La Penitence as their way of expressing an interest in cleanup contracts for their communities and the Le Repentir Cemetery. According to them, they had wanted to do this for years. In fact, they had approached both the Ramatar and Granger administrations in the past for the job, but neither government were interested. But they said since there's a new man in charge, Jagdeo, they have renewed their plea as they believe that they are capable of taking care of the cemetery and the surrounding communities. In the past, the city has wasted literally hundreds of millions of dollars to so-called professionals who only cut two bushes and leave. So I say buy the young men some proper equipment and pay them a fair wage. You there! Look what's now in stock at BM Soaked. Get this sweet, sexy Audi at Guyana's #1 auto dealer at Lot 9 Kroll Street, Georgetown, or call them on telephone number 231-8451 and find out about their requirements for their in-house loans. BM Soaked Auto Sales, it's your turn to drive. Quick action by the police resulted in the arrest of 3 persons who reportedly robbed a 22-year-old woman on Wednesday. 2 men and a woman riding in a taxi picked up the victim from the public road before heading towards Tushin, West Coast of Marora. It was at that point one of the male suspects pulled out a knife and robbed her of her belongings before pushing her out of the car a short distance away. One resident who witnessed what happened allowed the victim to use their phone to report the matter to the police. Officers intercepted the car at the Vredenhoop Junction. The suspects are a 32-year-old taxi driver of Durban Street, Georgetown, a 23-year-old laborer of Parfait Harmony, West Bank, Demerara, and a 23-year-old female vendor of Sophia Squatting Area, Greater Georgetown. Their names have not been released. Nevertheless, the victims' items were all recovered. Don't you just love a happy ending? It looks like the state is continuing to throw the book at alleged scammers Yuri and Taker. They were slapped with another 11 more charges, bringing the total number of charges filed so far to 52. Wow. This time, it's for taking $75 million from 11 victims. The duo was released on $3.3 million bail each, and the case was adjourned until September 7th. On Wednesday, 52-year-old Joseph Semple of Section C, Sophia, Greater Georgetown, succumbed to injuries he received after he was struck down by an alleged speeding motor car. Semple was riding his bike along Dennis Street when he was struck down by a car. The incident occurred at around 6:30 p.m. on Tuesday. The man was taken to the Georgetown Public Hospital, where he died the following day. A pedal cyclist died on the spot this afternoon after being hit down by a 4x4 vehicle. He has since been identified as 43-year-old handyman Naresh Naresh. He was struck down at about 1 p.m. outside Yokohama Auto Trading along the Rupert Craig Highway on the east coast of Demerara. The speeding 4x4 vehicle toppled into the fence of the auto dealership and back onto the roadway after slamming into the cyclist. The driver is currently hospitalized with multiple injuries. Ladies, we know you've been letting your bush fluff and blaming it on the quarantine. Shave those bushes with some help from this rechargeable shaver and trimmer from Triple D's. Delivery is free in Georgetown and they deliver as far as Linden and Police. Call them now on telephone number 682-8326. Triple B's Enterprise. Remember the name. Now, let's take a look at news in the region. A prison officer was caught attempting to smuggle contraband items into the maximum security prison in Aruca on Wednesday night. The prison officer was arrested at around 8:55 p.m. while trying to enter the compound. He was found to be carrying 1,000 cigarettes, 2 scales, 2 cellular phones, and other electronic items. According to Mike Pompeo, the United States will not contribute to, quote, legitimizing yet another electoral fraud, end quote, in Venezuela. He said this after Nicolas Maduro's government invited the United Nations and the European Union to monitor their parliamentary elections on December 6. Pompeo told reporters Wednesday that 34 countries have called for a transitional government in Venezuela to ensure transparent elections. Maduro on Tuesday pardoned more than 100 lawmakers and associates of opposition leader Juan Guaido, quote, in the interest of promoting national reconciliation ahead of the polls. But Pompeo was not convinced, and in fact, he said that they should not have spent a day in jail. There is a legit way you could earn some extra cash to supplement your existing hustle that does not involve 2 people or 21,500. Sell Top-Up. You could become a top-up vendor quick and easy by linking Cellular Plus. Call them on telephone number 685-3109 for more info. And now for our weird news story of the day. This one is coming from the African nation of Zambia. Domestic disputes have now reached another scary milestone after a wife bit off her husband's willy after he refused to get a rat out of her bedroom. Police say 52-year-old Abraham Musonda was allegedly attacked by his 40-year-old wife Makupa following a row about the rodent. She claimed that she came home after a night of drinking with friends to find the rat near her bed. She then ordered her husband to get rid of it. Obviously, because it's a rat in her house. But he refused to get rid of the rat, which apparently triggered a scuffle that presumably ended after Makupa managed to sink her teeth into his family jewels, causing a, quote, major tear. Yikes. According to police, the pair are essentially separated and live under the same roof in separate rooms. I would too if there was that much animosity in my marriage. Moving on to our Uncut News viewers poll question of the day. Every day we pose a question about current events in Guyana, the region, the diaspora, and how you feel it relates to us. So, you give your responses in the comments, and we'll read the best ones in the following episode. Yesterday's question was, what can you do to avoid being scammed by a Ponzi scheme? King of Diamonds said, the best way I believe we can avoid the Ponzi schemes is by doing research into those companies that pop up online asking us to invest and we barely heard of their names. Most times their offer is too good to be true. Be careful of offers that sound too good. Riaz Drapal has similar advice. He says, be skeptical if anyone tries to sell you on an investment that has huge and or immediate returns for little or no risk. It could well involve some sort of fraud. Like they say, if it sounds too good to be true, then it probably is. And finally, Beyond the Image said, first of all, we all need to be our own investigators. Many scammers are very convincing at the incentive of increasing one's capital. I see and laugh sometimes at how some get scammed by not reading or asking the tough questions because it's my own finances you're interested in. Additionally, once one researches after the introduction and everything matches what was asked, then why not? Other than that, just be smart and clever. Good answers, people. I hope your fellow viewers are listening and taking note. See, who said you couldn't learn anything of value from a cartoon? Haha! So tonight I leave you with this question. As I reported earlier, the young men in Liang Avenue and All Boys Town are protesting to clean the cemetery. Should the government give them the job or not? Think about that question and tell us in the comments below. If your response is good, we just might feature it in Friday's episode. Anyway, that's all the time we have for tonight. Check us out tomorrow for another episode. Until then, I'm Noriko Bullford saying good night, folks. Hey Uncut News viewers, thanks for watching. You can subscribe by clicking on this button over here, or click over there for more news. You can also drop a comment to let me know if you've made it to the end of the video. Goodbye for now!